Good morning, all. Welcome to Mornings with the Focus, joined by Justin Walters. I'm Wilson Tarpe Jr. Look, we had a first preseason action last night. I told you guys yesterday morning I didn't expect to see too many starters out there. Did see some people who used to be starters, though, I guess, which was kind of interesting. Justin, you were here yesterday. One of the folks I had just as someone to look out for last night. The only one I came up with, and maybe that makes me a bad person, was just I was interested in seeing Zamir White last night. And I was kind of happy with what I saw just because we know Josh McDaniels is over there now. And then the fact that Zamir White and Josh Jacobs played in this game, I don't know what I'm supposed to think. The rest of the Raiders starters we didn't really see. But Josh Jacobs played. We know they didn't pick up his fifth-year option. Is he essentially trying out for this roster?
I thought so too. You know, my first thought was like, oh wow, like you know what I mean? Is this trade bait? Is this trying to trade a guy? And then I saw that Kenyon Drake came in even later. You know, and I think, and then I wanted to actually watch the post game interview to hear him talk about it. And what he said was, and again, take it for what it's worth. He said that running backs are different. I just like them to get carries because I can't simulate them getting taken to the ground in practice. Okay, and it was weird because they played so many guys. You know, I mean, I don't want to get into the game before I get into what I had to say. But
No, go ahead.
Like the difference between the two teams last night really was just the Raiders were playing veterans, and the Jags were playing rookies, and it was kind of like the Raiders actually had a plan, at least for the first half. You know, like they were running probably stuff they're going to run with the screen game and the mixture, how they want to use their backs. Because again, none of these backs are team-changing backs, but they're all NFL players. You know what I mean? And that's you could just tell by the way they played, the way they handled their carries, the way they ran the ball, the way they finished the runs. And I mean, Jacobs is probably the most talented of all those. Not even probably. Jacobs is the most talented of all those backs. But for whatever reason, they came in and maybe the New England thing of trying to make somebody earn their role and you're a first round pick and we didn't pick you in fifth year option, not picking up the fifth year option, like just really like a whole prove it thing. But just and again they all fit together well, and this with White's gonna be one of the guys that I don't want to say like a Gus Edwards type, like a Gus Edwards plus, because he runs hard, he's shifty, the injuries kind of took him down. He was actually a lot more athletic, but he runs hard. He's just one of those guys that's always gonna get his carries. Like he's gonna get touches. You know what I mean? I don't think he's gonna be the guy. Him, Brian Robinson, those type of backs, they're finding their way in the rosters, and he's a little more gifted in some ways than Robinson. So I think he's gonna. I think just seeing him run and seeing how it translated. He hits the hole and gets north and south and finishes the runs, which is what you want to see. Haven't seen Amir do it forever, and he looked okay. And I guess seeing him in the past game is kind of what they were hoping. So maybe you have a duo and Drake competing for a spot. Maybe you have Jacobs. Jacobs just trying to show his work, because I could see them trying to move him for something. Because Jacobs can play, So if you get him moved to the right situation, maybe that'll be better for him. I know if you're into fantasy, I would definitely stay away from the Raiders because everybody's touching the ball and we don't know when. And you figure the funny part was seeing Brandon Bolden sitting on the sideline like he was Adams and Adams, Carr, and Bolden, like that's the new trifecta. That was kind of weird. And just seeing what McDaniels tries to do with his roster and his backs, it's gonna be fun to watch or irritating to watch.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point. I didn't even think about that. With how different camps are now, without the got away from the tackling to the ground. Yeah, that is a good point. So maybe that's something to keep an eye on as we get get into the next 3 weeks of preseason about running backs playing without the rest of their mates on offense. Because that is a good point. You can't simulate that, and this isn't the olden days where you're going to be getting punched in camp, essentially, as a running back. Little bit of contact, but nothing too much. So I didn't even think about that. I also thought the Raiders just looked like disciplined last night. I know it was only a preseason game, but they just felt a little bit more buttoned up. I don't know what to take from that. I mean, good start. It was good. It was cool seeing Trayvon Walker get his first sack, for sure. And then with Jacksonville's, like you said, they didn't really play their starters, which I get not playing like Trevor, but outside of that, I'm kind of like, why? Y'all need to y'all have a new coach. Y'all need to I don't know, but that's their business. There's 3 more weeks left of it because technically they would have had 4 preseason games. So I'll shoot him some bill for that. I'll mind my business.
And I was thinking when you said that, I was thinking the same exact thing you were saying. He's not terrible. He's not playing, but I don't. I was thinking the same thing you were thinking. I was just like, man, like for this team, like me and Sid actually have been having this conversation, like this Travis Etienne thing of treating him like he's done something already. Like he didn't play any games last year, and now he's in that role of like untouchables. Or I don't get it. I really don't get it. And why wouldn't you want him on the field? And your Jacksonville, like this is evaluations. You're still in the evaluation team building stage. Even Trevor is shown not to be polished. Like there's not too many guys in that roster who should be on that field right now. Maybe Cam Robinson. You know what I mean? Like I don't get any of that.
Like at least the series or something. But we'll see how they go with the rest of preseason. Like maybe I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt for one night because they might have 4 preseason games, but you also might need the 4 preseason games. I don't understand. I don't understand. Like a series wouldn't have hurt yesterday, honestly. And then secondly, Etienne, like you said, we just had a discussion about running backs. There's no reason for him not to be out there, like at all. Christian Kirk, I don't mind you not being out here. You've played in the NFL. You've been successful. That's fine. You, Zay Jones, I leave y'all alone. Everybody else, like you said, Cam Robinson, I don't get it. I really, truly don't. Like your first round pick played yesterday.
Right.
So, Etienne was a first round pick last year and you didn't play him, so I don't know.
Someone being taken to the ground, he ain't been taken to the ground in 2 years. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
To not even like you said, just to get on the field and run around and like a series where he takes a carry and takes a play fake and gets off the field.
Yep, just something.
The feel of the game again. You know what I mean? And again, Trevor, it's all new to all these guys. And you're a building team, and it just didn't make any sense to me. Actually, a guy like Snoop Connor was, he was a back, an underrated back from Ole Miss. Some people started to like towards the end of the process. He's going to make that team, and he's going to get touches. Not a ridiculous amount, but he's going to work his way into, somewhere split in between whatever that James Robinson role and that whatever Travis is doing. So he's going to fit somewhere there. He's going to get touches. And I saw the post-game interview. The coach was saying how they loved the way he played. They had him returning kicks and he actually playing. He got him pretty early. I think he started. It's just getting better at seeing the holes. But he's like they love the way he plays. And again, I think he's gonna carve a role out in that game. And then Trayvon's just gonna be one of them guys, man. That I don't think he's gonna be a 15 sack guy. He's like a 8 to 10, but he's gonna be one of them guys who hate playing. Defense for your tackle is gonna be like wincing after every play. It's so heavy-handed and physical. And again, to expect a guy like him to have all these outside rush moves when he didn't play outside in college is a lot. But then just being able to see, you saw with the stunt with him and Key. Again, Key should have some of his contracts with the 49ers, for discovering that role for him. You know what I mean? Even just listen to the post-game interview, they were saying they only see Key as a third down pass rusher from inside, which no one would have thought of putting such a small player inside, but 49ers did it, and now it's like it works so weird because Walker can play inside. You know what I mean? So you might get a lot of stunts where Walker's bumping off Key's guy, Key bumping off Walker's guy. But just seeing Walker out there, he fits. He looks like a old 3-4 outside backer, but he's an athlete. And seeing him out, he's gonna develop more moves. Like he's pretty much a bull rush guy, and he might be able to beat you inside. But he's gonna stuff the run. Like, he's just gonna be a solid, above average NFL player that won't always be the stuff that's gonna be flashy to you. Isn't gonna be the stuff that should be flashy for an edge player. That's what's gonna be weird for him. But they made early on. It looks like they made the right thing.
I mean, that's the other thing. Like, I think people are gonna look at where he was drafted, right, and expect him to have to be the guy. He doesn't have to be. You're the complement to Josh Allen. That's essentially what you are. You're just a really high freaking quality compliment. You're a great compliment, but yeah, like you said, your job is just to go beat people down. And as time goes on, you get used to, rushing from the edge all the time. Yeah, the other stuff will come. But like you said, think about the games you can run. It's another freaky athlete in that front seven. Don't they have? They got Devin Lloyd, right? Like, yeah. Like, think about what that front seven is going to look like from the type of athletes they have in there. They're going to be able to run all sorts of wild games in there. And you're not going to have a clue who's coming from where, when they're coming from there, and if they're going to stay there once the ball snapped. Like, I'm not mad at it at all. Like not even a little bit. You have anything else from that game? Oh, Sid wanted to know who's going to win wide receiver 3 role for the Raiders. You're on mute, Justin.
Trying to think of who's on that. Do they have Marcus Robinson?
I am not sure. I cannot.
I'm sorry. I think they do have from the Chiefs last year. I'm pretty sure they have Marcus Robinson. But I can see it being between him and. It's funny that you always see Keelan Cole somehow making plays wherever, he's not a great player, but when you watch games, you always see somehow Keelan Cole making a catch or something like that. But the player to watch, not early, maybe a little later. I forgot his last name. Number 1, what's his name? Johnson, I think it was. Tyron Johnson. He has the ability to be that deep threat, that speed threat that they don't have. Just got to get more consistent catching the ball, which is kind of important. But again, being that speed threat that they have, you could see him winning routes yesterday. Made a big catch, dropped a pass, but even just hearing about him in camp, he's one of those guys that can add something to that offense. So they really don't need much. Everyone else is reliable. So having a guy that can actually press the defense is something that he really can take. But for now, I'd probably just say DeMarcus Robinson.
All right, look, I'm not gonna fight with that answer at all. Technically, what is it? Technically, it's Hunter Renfrow. Wide receiver 1's Devontae, 2 is Darren Waller, 3 is Renfrow, and then everybody else getting where they fit in. And it's the Patriots. It's Patriots type offense. So throw in some of those running backs, and you got. But no, what Justin said, I think was a great answer though. But yeah, you have anything else on that game or?
Not really. Just like I said, we was hoping to see more. Hope. What's my guy? The corner. Hope he's okay. Towards the corner. Not Stokes. The other corner. Campbell. Hope Tyson Campbell.
Oh, Tyson Campbell. Okay.
He came back in, so hopefully he'll be okay. Seeing what's his name? The second or third year from LSU. What's his name? Overdrafted. Chase on. I think he had a sack yesterday. So hopefully, just with them being able to shuffle guys around like you were just saying, will just allow different guys to just play a certain role. Having a guy like Trayvon who you can just stick in one spot, but has versatility. He can do everything, but he can do the man stuff too, and allow some of the small undersized players to just run around and make plays. Having Taysom and Keith could eat off the strength of what he does, and then Josh Allen, another guy who has linebacker skill and is actually a pass rusher, so they can play a lot of games if they can get these teams third down, which didn't look too good yesterday. That was probably the issue. They're gonna get bullied in the run game, in the screen game. So that'll make it hard to get that pass rush going if you can't get third down. But and again, the Raiders kind of played most of their starting offensive line. And that plays a major part when you're playing a preseason game. It was good to see Leatherwood playing. There was talking. He was on the third string, and he started at right tackle. And it sounds like he's been playing pretty well. Parker has had his issues with Trayvon Walker, but I don't know if he'll be starting there. But, yeah, it was good to see for Walker to go in the starting offensive lineman, an actual a guy who started games in the NFL. Obviously he struggled with the bull rush, and so that wasn't a great matchup for him. But just to see what Walker did against him, I think that's what you take from the game is that Walker's a pro, And then that's pretty much what you can really take from it.
Yeah, that was the only other thing I had left on my notes was the Raiders O line looked good, which again to start a season it's never a bad thing. A lot of other teams would be trying to work towards that place. I know yesterday that we talked about just some folks in camp standing out or whatever. I know you weren't around. Some of the names I shared were names that we both had thought of, and some of the names were people that you brought up. The only camp update I had today, which is I don't know if it's a big issue or just something to keep an eye on, is what's going on with Matt Stafford and his elbow. So we had another team in the division with all the arm fatigue, all that other stuff. Meanwhile, they're talking about like it's a baseball injury called throwers elbow. So it's just something to keep an eye on. Don't know if it's actually something concerning, if it's just general wear and tear. Dude's been in the league for quite a while. He's always been on teams that threw the heck out the rock. So it could have just been something that's time really, but just something to keep an eye on, man, because the depth behind him isn't exactly great. That's all I had really today that I wanted to share. But if you had anything else,
Deontay Johnson signing.
Oh yeah, I'm surprised I got him for that cheap. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, but you know what? It's one of those things where you're a number one where you are, and I don't know what the market would have been elsewhere because who was going to give him 25 mil, 24 mil, or whatever. That was, and with the talent they have around him, and he said he was comfortable. I mean, I don't know, but I don't know who. There's a lot of teams that could use him. A lot of teams could use Deontay Johnson, but I don't know who's willing to pay him as a number one. That's where I think the question came, and I think they were playing this game with Chicken, and he was just like, let me just get this money, before I come back and Pickens that took the number one role, and now I'm not even getting snapped in Pittsburgh, So I think that was kind of what happened. I don't. He's a really good player, and I just wonder he's a high 2 or a low 1, and like I said, the way the game's going, who's going to pay that money?
I mean, not only that, he was definitely worth the contract extension. I just didn't think they'd be able to get it done, honestly, for that amount of money, considering what other people are getting paid, right? So, Christian Kirk got all the money he got, and Deontay Johnson's probably been a little bit more productive. So, just from that standpoint, that's why I thought he would get more money.
Oh, I agree.
I didn't think he was going to get top of the line money, but just period. Think about the folks that just got paid in their production. He's closer to their line of production than Kirk's line of production. Right. You know what I'm saying? Kirk's, and that's not a knock on Kirk. It's just Kirk didn't even have the role Deontay Johnson had.
Right.
In his offense, he wasn't asked to be the guy at all or one of the guys. He was a guy in their wide receiver core, and that's kind of how he got treated. And I'm not saying that's an indictment on him, but just thinking about
I just feel Pittsburgh wasn't going to.
Well, yeah, that's the. Well, I think that also goes into why I think the Pickens selection, right? We know they don't pay every wide receiver, if any. They'll just go find another one. So maybe that went into some of that was, this is like the best case scenario for Pittsburgh is, hey, it worked out where we didn't have to pay him what he probably is worth, and we got a young stud in Pickens. So we got 2 years with the 3 of these dudes. And who knows, it could be Deontay and Pickens after this if Claypool starts asking for too much money, according to Pittsburgh. We don't know. Sid said Deontay learned from the past players that leaving the berg isn't always greener. That could play a role in it too. Have no idea, but kudos to them for keeping him. And he definitely deserved to get paid, but he's one of the better wide receivers in the league that just doesn't get enough attention at all. People go out their way to bring up Claypool, and there's a reason Claypool, doesn't get the coverage defensively he deserves because there's another good player over there. And that's not a knock on Claypool, just being honest. You could double, he could see a 1 all the time, but you can't just leave anybody on Deontay. He's gonna cook.
Right.
So, just want to throw that out there real quick. And then I know what's it called? Next week we got a full slate of preseason games next week, which should be fun. I don't think I'm looking overly forward to any of them because I don't know how much people are going to play.
Are they down to 3 preseason games? They playing?
Yep, it's Hall of Fame game and 3 weeks of preseason. Yep.
Oh.
So we're like, I know some teams some teams have, was it 3 preseason games in 12 days? So some teams you will not see starters because they got joint practices in between those preseason games, and I think a lot of teams put more stock and value in the joint practices, the preseason games, because it is your ones against somebody else's ones for those practice sessions. So, where the preseason games you're not getting. If you could get that same work in, why do it in the preseason game?
Right.
So just something to keep an eye on next week. But it starts off next Thursday with the Giants and Patriots and Titans and Ravens. So again, like you said, we'll just be looking around to see how some of these youngsters do. I don't expect to see too many vets, man, honestly. Anything else you wanted to touch on? Go ahead.
No, not really. Just like I said, seeing again, I saw another big throw from Tua this morning, and it's just kind of showing the comfort level that he's developing right now in that offense, and we might see a whole different player. That's what I'm getting from it. Just watching the way the game looks to him now, it's way different. And again, it's only practice, but you can just tell by the way people carry themselves, even just the way he's talking, which isn't a big deal for most people, but for players that don't talk a lot, it kind of is. It's a little different. It's not like a guy that just he's known for talking and saying he's gonna do something and not do it. But this is a player that just seemed like kind of like it was a breath of fresh air to get away from Flores, who was a great coach, but there's this relationship and whatever's going on. Now seeing what's going on, I can't imagine how much, what the issues they had, hostility just from front office things and being told to do things they didn't want to do, and that type of thing. So it probably lets that relationship being sour. So, just good to see the confidence he's playing with the weapons he has, and, just hope to see the best version of him, whatever that is, the Alabama version of him.
Yeah, like we talked about yesterday, sometimes it really is that simple, man. And like you said, I'm not mad with the Flores thing, but those two were never supposed to be together. Especially when, seemed like from all accounts, Flores made it pretty clear that's not the quarterback of his choosing. Sure, could things have been handled better? I'm sure they could have, but they weren't supposed to be together at all. They were not supposed to spend any NFL time together at all. And it wasn't good for either of them, right? Just wasn't. Then this is a polar opposite situation where, McDaniels coming from, again, has had some he's had some work in helping create game plans around a limited quarterback, right? Where in this case, compared to limited quarterbacks, because it wasn't just him, where you're over there working around people, what people can and can't do, versus Tua, where it's just, hey, let's just get you better, let's get you confident, let's get you rolling in the right direction. Totally different. It's a totally different job. So I think it's just as refreshing it is for Tua, it is for McDaniels. Because there's nothing now in your playbook where you're like, oh, I can't do that. Or I have to build up to that. Or let's cut that out completely. Nah, just get into your stuff. Marry the outstanding run game that you bring to the table. Build a play action off of that and go about your life. But you can run your full complement of it. And I think that's huge for them. I think it's going to be huge. Help the guy play on time and everything else. Again, I call it that offense has made a lot of okay quarterbacks look better than they are. If you're a quarterback with actual talent, you should be fine in it. Like your floor rises exponentially versus one of the guys that they make look average, because you're already more talented than them. So, Sid said, "Is Lamar getting a deal?"
Yeah, he got it. I think you only have a few more weeks to get it done. But
yeah.
What is the other option? Like, there is no other option. The team's too good to ever end up near any good quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
and you've already changed the roster to make it look a certain kind of way anyway. So who are you adding that can elevate that? So you're gonna find out those offensive weapons aren't what you think they are when you put the wrong guy there.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I think it's a matter. It's a matter of when. Right now, it's a matter of when and how much. Because if you don't get it done before this year starts, you have to pay even more money after the season's done. You have to, or rather, you get it done before preseason starts next week. One's preseason next week. You still got time to get this deal done before preseason even rolls around. But like Justin said, what are your options? That's your guy. Just go pay him, man. Go figure it out. And sometimes it's just figuring out the compensation, right? So maybe it takes a little time, but honestly, you should have had this figured out last year when everybody was hurt. Like, as soon as he got hurt last year, y'all should have hammered out the contract. Right. Me personally, you had nothing but time, so you should have hammered that out. Sid, you had any other questions before we bow out of this episode today? Man. Yeah, it's about to be funny, man. Happy preseason's back, though.
Yeah.
Very happy preseason's back.
Observing the Pittsburgh quarterback competition, the Carolina quarterback competition.
Shoot, what's it called? Some of those competitions look like it's going to be interesting because I think some folks may not be as being as good a place as they thought after a week or so of camp at that position. Because a month ago, whatever, it was like, oh, we got this guy, we feel good. Like, even with the Steelers situation, I don't know, man. I don't know. T-Roy on a delayed live stream, but yeah, Josh Jacobs pissed off someone, or they just hating in Vegas. Yeah, Justin and I have chosen not to go that route. I'm gonna say that maybe it's just like Josh McDaniels said, give him a chance to get tackled by somebody else. So we'll see. That's the thing. Josh, you're either telling the truth, or we're gonna find out it was just some Patriot talk in a couple weeks. We're gonna find out soon.
Hopefully they just hopefully they get a pissed off version of him, and you just get him to ball out for a year. Unfortunately, this last year of him and just ride, just feed him the ball and see where it ends up. Not picking up the 5th year on a first-round pick who's actually had some success in the league is just crazy. It's a weird thing. I mean, again, I guess with the money, it's like running back to disposable and especially the way they did call games.
Yeah.
But this is a guy that can do everything. You know what I mean? So it's not like there's a piece of the game he can't do, and you're like, we got to take him off for this or that. Like, he can catch, he can run, he can do all that. So, again, maybe for him just coming in saying no free passes, everyone's got to earn their spot, especially at a position that he has success working with.
Yeah, could just be the Patriot way in action, right? Could just be that. Yeah, I know you're as advertised. However, I wasn't here with you. Earn it, Josh. I mean, we might have your contract already drawn up. Earn it, Josh. How are you going to deal with the fact that, appreciate you, T-Roy, deal with the fact that we made you earn it? You going to pout? You can just go out there and ball. And that could be it, but we'll see. Like again, all the stuff, every coaching staff, all the noise out of every camp, everything's all talk. Like, at some point, we're going to see what was true and what wasn't. That's the fun part here. We're going to find out soon. Like, we're going to find out very, very, very soon. But the quarterback thing, man. I don't know. You got the Cleveland situation, right? Interesting. You talk about the Steelers, like some people are like, oh, just wait for Kenny Pickett. You might not have a starting quarterback out of those two. Do you go make a trade? I'm gonna just sit back. I think it's very interesting. That's all I got. I just think it's very interesting. I need to see Curtis Samuel get this Josh Jacobs treatment. That's just some. What was one of my guys tweeted this the other day. I think my man Jamal tweeted this. It was it Paul Richardson? Was like this with Washington several years back. Came from Seattle, explosive playmaker, and just wasn't healthy. Soon as they acquired him or whatever, or he wasn't healthy when they acquired him, and it never really got better. It just feels like that for Washington with Curtis Samuel. But maybe just take that energy, and here's your luxury, right? You got Terry, Diami, and Jahan. No, it could be worse. What if you had this same situation without Diami or Jahan? Be way worse. That's all. Man, yeah, and he's on the side field today too. But yeah, it'll be interesting, man. The other thing, I can't wait to see where how these teams start cutting down their roster, either.
Right.
Because sometimes you see like folks that get cut become like priorities for other teams. Like they're gonna walk in and take jobs on other teams. So that's always interesting. But again, appreciate you guys for tuning in. Justin, if you had anything else, we'll go ahead and close things out. See you guys next week again. Usually we get started between 9:30 and 10 a.m. Man, depends on I'm the non morning person, so it depends on what it looks like for me getting up and everything. And prepping. But we'll see you guys Monday morning. Enjoy your weekends. Have a good